I am your host Salim bin Muhammad Rafi, and here is my YouTube channel Zamir Universal. I think it has become absolutely clear that the conflict at the moment, the genocide, ethnic cleansing, and for the last 6 months, the bloodshed of children, their body parts being pulled out of rubble, and even when the Christmas was cancelled this year, the Jesus Christ, as a symbolic, was pulled out of a rubble as well. Shame for the whole Christian world that they did not react. They did not, just like Serbia, none of the American or Russian or the Chinese or Turkish or Pakistan or any of the nuclear powers or France sent their jets to bomb every single inch of the aggressor, and which was here, the Zionist state of Israel. The filthiest, the dirtiest, the criminal which bombs hospitals, injured people, killed nurses, pulls oxygen, let the newborns die in the incubators. Have you seen any other nation so cruel in the world? Have you seen any rules of war? No. And imagine that this Sleepy Joe, another, I think, war criminal with the blood on his hands of thousands of Palestinian children, women, injured persons. And I am amazed at the parents who have sent their boys and girls to this so-called IDF. Imagine what kind of devil force they have created, and these young people who have absolutely no idea of humanity, who have no knowledge, they are just given guns. And look how they are distributing guns to the illegal settlers, which you can see for yourself. That when I say that single-handedly Netanyahu, it started from Shamir, that he started to put settlements so that the idea of, for the last 70 years, they have been deceiving, cheating the whole world about two-state solutions, and even they went ahead with the Oslo Accord, and then they shot Rabin because there is one. And how come there is no one who is now shooting the Netanyahu, who is at the moment the main obstacle, and with the other, that bald-headed, the prime minister before him. The whole world is saying, and see how he is defending Zionism. So you can imagine that these filthiest, dirtiest, the war criminals, why should they be eliminated? When they say that they should not, anybody pity, the reason they pity them is that that is what their fate is. And now there are no way that they will escape this. And now the bomb blast they have now arranged in Russia, because that's the one who was giving them a real tough time. And they were giving them a tough time because they are now just like a fish out of water, about to die. This was just hiccups just before death is where the Israel at the moment, and not listening to the whole world, and is continuing. And the dream is that to flatten Gaza, clean Gaza, built on the skulls and bones and the debris of Gaza is a port, and then ship them into the sea, because if they ship to the desert in Egypt, they must remember the Pharaoh's time when they enslaved them and killed every one of their sons born, and only their women were left. So they psychologically they fear every Egyptian soldier, because it takes them back thousands of years when they were slaves, and they were doing nothing but they do whatever the orders Pharaoh was giving. Let it be written, let it be done. So was it done. Now this bald-headed man, and this Netanyahu and his
The most successful indigenous land back project in history is Zionism, because 2,000 years ago, colonialists came to the native Israelis, who are the Jews, kicked us out, dispersed us across the world, and for 2,000 years we didn't forget that we need to go home, speak our same language, Hebrew, believe in the same God, Hashem, live in the same land, Eretz Israel, and we succeeded.
During your speech, you made a lot of references to Jewish people as well as certain people in your audience to Nazis. Now, that is extremely offensive to people who've actually suffered under Nazi rule.
I don't respect that anymore. I don't like and I don't respect the crocodile tears. The crocodile tears. My late father was in Auschwitz. My late mother was in Maidanek concentration camp. Every single member of my family was exterminated because of the lessons my parents taught me that I will not be silent when Israel commits its crimes against the Palestinians. And I consider nothing more despicable than to use their suffering to try to justify the brutalization that Israel daily commits against the Palestinians.
You are destroying our country. You are destroying the people of Palestine. You are a cancer on this system, and you are making us less safe. Your allegiance is to Israel, not the United States, and shame on you for what you are doing.
Shame for having no humanity, that you don't care about over 30,000 people who have been slaughtered, of my people. How dare you?
I was taught as a Jew that we're not supposed to allow what happened to us to happen ever again to anyone. You care about
You're in the... No, as long as no one's impeding you. They are standing in my way. They're not letting me go.
You are walking, sir. We're not impeding your way. We're just following you to get some answers because we have that right.
I'm a daughter of a Holocaust survivor. My mother escaped Germany in 1939. I know very well what a genocide can do to a people. And it pains me, aches me, anguishes me that every day my people are pursuing a genocide against a faceless, voiceless Palestinian people that you have helped to create facelessness and voicelessness to. Wake up to humanity and allow us all to be human to each other. Stop the war, ceasefire now.
Why are Palestinian lives less important than Israeli lives? It's really disgraceful and disgusting that you would even not care about over 14,000 children have been maimed and slaughtered from your doings. AIPAC is killing my people and you have nothing to say about it. Palestinian blood is on your hands and you will answer to that one day.
Really loving to get the aid that Israel needs right now, immediately. For now?
for continuing to slaughter the people in Gaza?
Israel need them. Militarily. You know that. Yes. You know that.
Let's go down to the lower.
So you think Israel needs more funding? Can you tell us what you want? More bombs? Everybody goes to the restroom. Everybody to the restroom. That's the. Well, why were you here? Out of curiosity, what is it that you're lobbying for?
To support Israel.
So there's the $14 billion package.
Absolutely. It actually should be more than that, I believe. There actually was discussion about it being $17 billion.
Even more people?
Every person from Hamas. Every person from Hamas.
What do you think about? What do you ladies think about the hostages?
Wait,
What do you think about the hostages?
we want them freed, which is why
And
we
what do you
want a
think of Hamas?
ceasefire. After October 7th, you know there's been over 30,000 people killed.
If
Do you
according
feel
to
okay
Hamas,
about
according
that?
to Hamas.
Who do you think
Well,
has
let
been
me ask
killed?
you something.
Haven't you seen the pictures? Where are the pictures? Where's
I've seen a lot of pictures. Have you seen the 47-minute video?
No, I
of
would
what
like to
Hamas-
see it. How could I
Hamas
see
did?
that?
I don't have it, but you should get it.
Well, I've been asking.
How'd you feel when 9/11 happened?
9/11 happened, I felt like we should have taken the people who attacked us and brought them to justice, not invade Afghanistan, not invade Iraq.
Oh, we never
and
invade-
so what
So
we're
what do
doing
you think-
now,
so like when
do you
Japan-
believe in collective punishment? Can you answer me now? I've answered your question. Do you believe in collective punishment? Yes.
I believe that there is no army that's more moral in the world than the Israeli army that goes out of its way to protect civilian rights, much more so than any army in the world. What happened when Japan attacked the United States and Pearl Harbor?
Do you think that what Israel has done for the last 5 months is protect civilians when 30,000 of them...
Well, Robbie, before you bomb a hospital or a church or a mosque, a home, or even dig up a cemetery, shouldn't you be confident it's a legitimate military target? New reporting from the Washington Post says Joe Biden knew Israel was indiscriminately bombing Gaza as early as weeks after October 7th. And instead of stopping the bombing by cutting off aid, he circumvented Congress to give Bibi more weapons. No red lines, he said. Yesterday's shocking report from the Washington Post revealed that on October 27th, Biden privately disclosed in a small White House meeting that Israel was regularly bombing buildings without solid intelligence that they were legitimate military targets. As someone familiar with the meeting told the Post, quote, "We never had a clear sense that the Israelis had a definable and achievable military objective. From the very beginning, there's been a sense of us not knowing how the Israelis were going to do what they said they were going to do." Yet none of this uncertainty was reflected in Biden's public position. On November 16th, when Joe Biden defended Israel's first ground invasion into Gaza's largest hospital, Al-Shifa, claiming that Hamas had a military headquarters under the hospital, he already had cause to doubt Israeli intelligence. But this is what he told the public.
You have a circumstance where the first war crime is being committed by Hamas by having their headquarters, their military, hidden under a hospital. And that's a fact. That's what's happened.
And that's a fact. Of course, it was far from fact. Following the attack, the Washington Post reported that the tunnel network showed, quote, "no immediate evidence of military use by Hamas," and that there was no evidence that the tunnels could be accessed from inside the hospital wards. A gun tucked improbably behind an MRI machine and an edited IDF video were supposed to justify the siege of a hospital. A hospital. The Geneva Convention is clear on this. Military operations against hospitals are forbidden unless they are used to commit outside their humanitarian duties acts harmful to the enemy. And importantly, the presence of small arms and ammunition taken from such combatants shall not be considered to be acts harmful to the enemy. If Biden knew that Israel's attacks on hospitals and other civilian sites were not supported by intelligence showing a Hamas presence, what did he think they were doing? What did he think the bombs he circumvented Congress to send were for? It gets worse. At this same October 27th meeting, the Post reports that Biden and top foreign policy officials also admitted to each other what the Biden administration has denied to the voting public, that Israel appears to have no plan for defeating Hamas. Now, why does this matter? Remember, that defeating Hamas has been the justification not just for indiscriminate bombing that has killed over 31,000 Palestinians. It is also Israel's justification for rejecting ceasefire and hostage exchange deals. Remember, Netanyahu has rejected Hamas ceasefire proposals that would have resulted in the release of all hostages because he says he will settle for nothing less than, quote, absolute victory over Hamas. But as EU's top diplomat Josep Borrell argued, Hamas is an idea, and you don't kill an idea. There is no military solution to the question of Hamas. If America knows there's no plan for, quote, absolute victory over Hamas, and experts across the political spectrum acknowledge that military defeat of Hamas is impossible, we have to ask again this question. What is Israel doing in Gaza? For months, humanitarian experts have warned that Israel's actions in Gaza after October 7th, along with various statements of intent to reoccupy Gaza, strongly suggest that Israel's goal was never defeating Hamas, but was instead permanently expelling the population of Gaza. Remember the document leaked from Israel's Ministry of Defense back in October that set out a plan to transfer 2.3 million Gazans into Egypt's Sinai Peninsula? The plan to push Gazans from the north to the south, followed by a land invasion and ultimately expulsion into 10 cities in Egypt? Does that plan now sound familiar? Remember the January resettlement conference attended by 12 members of Netanyahu's Likud party, including National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir and Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, who personally called for Palestinians to be removed from Gaza? Remember how the conference featured maps of Gaza with Palestinian cities given brand new names? Remember when Ben-Gvir said, quote, "What needs to be done in the Gaza Strip is to encourage immigration. If there are 100,000 or 200,000 Arabs in Gaza and not 2 million Arabs, the entire discussion on day one will be totally different." Remember when in January, Israel announced its plan to build a, quote, buffer zone in Gaza, claiming miles of land and marking thousands of buildings for destruction? Remember reporting in February that Egypt is building a wall near the Gaza border, but won't say what it's for? If these signs weren't enough, now Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, has made headlines by excitedly describing the prospect of, quote, valuable beachfront properties in Gaza. And while that news has grabbed headlines, it may not be the most damning part of what Kushner said in that March 8th interview. Let's take a listen.
There are real fears on the part of Arabs, and I'm sure you talk to a lot of them, who think once Gazans leave Gaza, Netanyahu's never going to let them back in.
Maybe, but I'm not sure there's much left of Gaza at this point.
I'm not sure there's much left of Gaza at this point. Was this the plan all along? To crush any discussion about Gazans' right to return by destroying anything they might return to bomb museums and libraries, colleges, and dig up cemeteries, to end any chance of finishing your degree or visiting your mother's grave, to cut ties that might draw a people back to their land after being pushed into the Sinai. When Kushner was asked by the interviewer about Arab fears that Netanyahu may not allow Palestinians who flee Gaza to return, Kushner paused and simply replied, maybe. Maybe. Just yesterday, Netanyahu reportedly told his Foreign Affairs Committee that, and I quote, "As far as the state of Israel is concerned, there is no obstacle for the Gazans to leave. Maybe even the port they are building could be used for this." You heard that right. Netanyahu just offered that the port America is building with your tax dollars might be used to expel Gazans from their land permanently. Developing Gaza has been a thinly veiled dream of certain Israelis, as evidenced by rhetoric, which emphasizes how much better a place Gaza would be if Israel were in charge. Just look at this advertisement that recently ran on Hulu.
Come visit beautiful Gaza. With its stunning beaches and charming boardwalks, you can stay in one of our 5-star hotels and get a taste of the best in Middle Eastern food. Embrace the vibrant nightlife of the city and experience a culture rich in tradition that this is what Gaza could have been like without Hamas.
Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between artificial intelligence and thinly veiled intentions. So this Washington Post reporting was really a bombshell. Interestingly, it was not packaged by the Washington Post as Biden knew there was indiscriminate bombing and didn't say anything. It was packaged as one of these, Biden is frustrated with Netanyahu, Biden wishes things were different sort of articles. But readers quickly picked up on these early paragraphs, which revealed that at this October 27th meeting, Biden, behind closed doors, was saying that he knew that Israeli intelligence was not good at the same time that he was defending their choices to bomb certain targets, like hospitals, like the planned demolitions of homes, et cetera, and selling that to the American public as legitimate on the basis of what it turns out was what he knew to be bad Israeli intelligence.
Yeah, I think Biden has not been honest with the American people. As I said during our interview with Trita Parsi earlier today, his administration has been criticizing Netanyahu somewhat, but still unwavering in its commitment to this war effort. We've discussed this so many times, but I do wonder about that ad. Do you have any doubt that Gaza would be better off if it was run by some group other than Hamas, because I don't.
Let me ask you this. Do you think your house would be better decorated if I kicked you out in the street and took it over?
No, but my house isn't harboring terrorists who lash out and kill their neighbors.
So the issue, of course, is one, that people have a right to their homes, regardless if someone else thinks they can do a better job with it. And another issue is that there has been a siege on Gaza for years, where Israel does not allow goods like chocolate in. Commerce cannot be let out of Gaza. The idea that Gazans were supposed to have some kind of thriving economy when all of their trade is tightly controlled by Israel. When we describe Gaza as an open-air prison, this is what's being described. They're not allowed to have an airport. They're not allowed to have their own port. Does anyone ask the question why it is that America has to build a port to access by water this land? Well, it's because Israel has precluded them from being able to do those kinds of things. They are an occupied territory. So no, I'm not surprised. If you ask me, do I think Alcatraz or some other
यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें, उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार ज़रूर